Welcome back to the Hockey Show, and today we're talking about the New York FUGAZZIs. That's right, the New York Rangers, the team that was that close to making it to the finals after their supposed Team of Destiny run. They fail to do anything spectacular after losing in the Eastern Conference Finals, after being the ever-so-claimed Team of Destiny, where they win the President's Trophy just exactly the same, 30 years later after 1994, where they were there to the last Stanley Cup they won, winning the President's Trophy. So many things lined up where, the perfect amount of games are played each round and how they played them or something like that. It was all the prophecy was foretelling them that they were going to win. But guess what? It all goes crumbling down to the knees of Florida, and they bow down to their southern master. Anyways, yes, this team, after an abysmal, unimpressive, uninspiring, horrible play by this team, where the top guys, namely Zibanejad, Panarin, Chris Kreider, and Adam Fox, just all went like this and disappeared from the play, because, oh boy, what the hell is wrong with this team? This is one of those teams that I've watched, when I was growing up, in the 2012s, early teens, is when I started to really get into hockey. Truly, my first hockey game I ever got was 2K11. It was, I was in that region of, that space, when the Rangers were, in the playoffs with Lundqvist, when they went against the Kings, when they played that series against the Canadiens, one of, my most fondest memories from hockey, where Chris Kreider was playing, Marty St. Louis run. I've seen this team. They're electric. They're fun. They're one of the energy in Madison Square Garden. What the hell happened? Where did that all go? Where does it, this team is one of those teams where it's there should be no reason to not have fight. This team just literally evaporates. Panarin goes easy in the corners. He has no fight. He's got no, pep in his step. He makes no good plays. Zibanejad, he's good to make, one little nice, between the legs move, go around, and then just end up just losing the puck and making nothing happen. They're all, a little bit of dazzle, but there's no actual sizzle there, right? And Adam Fox just wasn't abysmal defenseman. He did nothing. There was a couple nice plays where he just in the right place where he got a good shot or something, but that's not gonna do anything. Chris Kreider, he had some good goals in this playoffs, but I would say he's definitely a victim of right place, right time, and I think he was I don't want to say he was lucky, but he was kind of fortunate to be in the right spots at the time to get some goals. But other than that, these top teams, these guys, the big goal scorers, it's like the Maple Leafs, where it is an issue that no general manager, or really especially fans, want to have, because what do you do when your top guys, the guys who you buy the jerseys for, that get the numbers on your back, and everyone recognizes, what do you do when the guys aren't the guys? It's such a tough step, because especially when it's not one guy, it's a lot of them, right? Because a lot of people, the Maple Leafs, I'll make a video about them, and it's yeah, Mitch Marner should be traded, he is the biggest, one out of the group that's doing nothing, but it is a team effort that just really implodes on itself every year. And so a lot of people are hinting at Mika Zibanejad getting traded after his not so great total season in playoffs, but I would definitely not say it's his issue. It is a team issue, and sure, they could trade Zibanejad and bring someone else in, but I don't think just one for one is going to be enough for that. So, I mean, and there's a lot of things to consider going forward for them, because not only do they have only $11.3 million in this season, so all these top guys Trouba, Fox, all these names up here are signed this year, but next season, oh boy, they got some big numbers, and there was actually a rumor just recently that Igor Shesterkin is looking for $12 million on his next deal. This is his final year of his contract, I think at $5.5, something like that. Igor Shesterkin, Lafreniere, who's becoming a star by the second, is about to do his money, and then Keandre Miller, who's kind of been more disappointing, but he's definitely in for a raise as well. And I know the cap is going up, but That's going to be some big money that they're going to be shelling out. Because Shesterkin adding like $7 million to his deal, plus Lafreniere getting at least like, what, $8 million bare minimum, I would think, for his next deal. That's a lot of money that is going to start being coming up soon. So they can't really sign any huge contracts, because they can't just go out there and be like, oh yeah, we're going to trade Trouba, and then we're going to sign like Marchessault to a 3-year deal, and we're going to sign Steven Stamkos, I don't know, for like $7 million for 2 years. It's like, you won't have any money to sign anyone else, and especially these top guys who are going to be the ones to replace these guys. So I don't know. So for this upcoming, before we start like talking about adjustments, their current team, their domestic problems, right? So RFAs this year, restricted free agents. Kaapo Kakko definitely is a trade piece. You don't keep him on the team. He has been an abysmal, suck-ass, stupid, very bad pick for the New York Rangers, and especially with the guys that were drafted around him. But they were the right call. I mean, Kaapo Kakko would have been the guy I would have drafted too. Like, that's one of the ones where I'm really shocked he's not panned out. I don't know if it's just New York and he's not really fitting in. He's not really fitting in with like the system, and maybe he's not really in the right position on the team. I don't know. Maybe he needs a new atmosphere, maybe like a first line setup with some other team. But regardless, Kaapo Kakko is just not the deal. Like they're win now mode. They need to win now, and they can't keep waiting for a guy who just gets nothing done on the ice. They would rather spend $2 million on a guy to get some job done like Barclay Goodrow than spend $2 more million on a guy who does nothing on the ice and is a healthy scratch like Kaapo Kakko. So Kakko, out. Get him out of there. Lindgren, you gotta sign. Lindgren is the type of defenseman you need on a team to win the Stanley Cup. He is the guy, he is the unsung heroes. He is like the firefighters that no one knows their name of, that is always a great part of the team, and if they don't sign him and he goes somewhere else, like, that team's going to love him. Ryan Lindgren, absolute star player. Not star, but great player. He does so much on the ice. He does so well. And he's one of those guys that this team needs. And he's not going to be paid very much. Like, what, $3 million at most? Like, he's a good deal. Schneider, you keep him. He's an RFA. He's a young kid. He's played well on the ice the couple years he's been playing. So he will be a good, like, $1.5 million signing, I think. But here's the thing, is that just those two guys right there, like Lindgren at most $3 million or something like that, like Schneider 1.51, like, already that is subtracting from the amount of money they have. Then they have Roslovic, who I think they keep around on the team. He was a solid piece for them in the playoffs, and I think a very good depth piece to keep around on this team. And he shouldn't demand too much money. I think he could definitely be a steal of a contract. Wenberg, Wheeler, who cares? They walk. That Wenberg was horrible for this team, so definitely let him go. Gustafsson, I really liked on this team. He was great on the blue line for the Rangers, but especially this Rangers team, if they lose like Gustafsson, they'll need to find another guy. And they don't have a ton of money, and Gustafsson might want a lot of money coming up, and this team needs to do something. But at the end of the day, here's the end-all be-all. If they just re-sign these guys, because they have the money, they can sign Gustafsson, then Schneider and Lindgren, probably Roslovic, and have like $0.5 million left, or who knows, maybe just a little chunk of change. They'll be able to get it done and keep these guys on the team, and they will still have a competent team that can play through the regular season, get a lot of big numbers on the board, have some guys at 100 points, maybe two guys in the 90s, who knows, whatever, right? Some Kreider has another good goal-scoring year or something like that. Zibanejad bounces back, and they make it in the playoffs. But then what's going to happen again? This team is going to go into the playoffs, and it's proven year after year now that these guys just are not the deal. Panarin, Zibanejad, Fox, Kreider's not getting any younger, that these guys are just not playoff warriors, and they're not going to get the job done. They need some sort of spark and pump to the lineup, because the issues are the core, right? They need that top six to be sparked. They need that spark up there, and I don't know how they really get there, because the money that they have is not a big chunk of change. So sure, they could move out a top guy. They could move out a guy like Jacob Trouba, $8 million. Like, that would be a big move, but, well, not big move. Like, Trouba, in my opinion, I hate Jacob Trouba. He's my least favorite Ranger. I think it's absolutely insane that he gets the Marc Messier Award for leadership. That is literally the most bonkers thing that I've ever heard in my... Okay, not the most, but that's insane. That a guy like him... Like, that would be like Brad Marchand getting it. Like, it would be like, what? How? Like, that is insane. At least Martian is actually like a good captain. I don't care what the hell the NHL like is hiring these commentators and paying them to do. I don't care how much money they're giving Eddie Olczyk for him to keep going like, oh yeah, he helps the children's hospital and he makes art. And it's like, I don't care. The guy is a horrible captain. So I don't care about what they have to say about that. But really, the big thing is that they either need to move a big contract out like Trouba, or I guess like Zibanejad, but I really don't think that's the move. They either move a guy out like that, because here's the big thing, is that even if they move out a big contract like Trouba or Zibanejad, they still are going to need Igor and Lafreniere signed this upcoming year. This is their last year of their deals. Lafreniere, well, I didn't want to say explode. Everyone is saying it way too much. He definitely broke out last season, and I think this playoff run, though, he exploded in the playoffs. He is a true bona fide player. He was the star of this team late in the playoffs. He is the guy. He is going to get paid big money. Bare minimum this year. I think no matter what, he's barest a minimum is $6 million. I would guess at least $8 million, probably, if he has a solid season this year. If he doesn't like back down a little bit, I think if he has a solid year, he gets in like the 60s, maybe he gets to the 70s of points. Even maybe he goes beyond that, and he has this like true big season. Like, what, $10 million? Like, he's getting paid big. And Shesterkin, there's a rumor that I just saw, like, 5 minutes before I recorded this, that Shesterkin's looking for $12 million. For being the best goaltender in the world, I think he's deserved it. Like, he is a huge, huge star. Like, they are going to sign that money to him. So that is a lot of big, and Keandre Miller, too. So there's a lot of big deals going to be handed out to some big guys on this team of the future. And they can't lock themselves into a big deal, really, right? I would say they go for a guy like Marchessault. Conn Smythe winner, he probably won't be wanting too much money, but $7 million is at bare minimum. A 6 to 7 for Marchessault seems about right. Maybe he wants 8, but regardless of anything, first of all, that'd be tough for them to get the cash out of. Even if they found that price, he's not going to want 1 year, you know? Marchessault, this is kind of the end of his career. It's coming up, right? This is the last of his prime where he can really put on some big numbers, and after this amazing season of 42 goals, 69 points, and being a Conn Smythe winner, this is going to be his big contract. So I'm guessing he wants at least 3, if not 4 years, and the Rangers cannot really commit to a guy like that right now. And so Marchessault is going to be tough. Sam Reinhart, people are pointing at, like, oh, they just played him in the playoffs. Like, that would be cool. But it's like, Sam Reinhart's going to want, like, $10 million at least for his next contract. Or something like that, like 9.5, maybe 9. Like, once again, Reinhart's going to be looking for that big max deal as well. And the Rangers, I don't think have the cap space to really pull that off right now. Unless they move out a big name. And the thing is, if they move out a big name like that, if they move out as a Zibanejad, like, what is the return on that? Because they can't bring back another money player. Sure, maybe they go to a team like the Senators, and they're like, oh, we want Jacob Chychrun. They send Zibanejad back to the Senators, and they bring Chychrun in, but that's still not saving too much money. Like, they go to the Ducks. Everyone wanted Frank Vatrano on this team. Let's say they send them Zibanejad, and they get Vatrano and some other Minchikov or something like that, or some sort of defenseman, and they send that back in return. But even then, it's like, you got Vatrano, who's going to need a deal next season as well, and it's like, that's a big step down. So they're really trading away some big piece. So it's like, all the corners that I see them trying to cut and figure this out, like, none of it feels like it's going to work out. Unless, like, a team, like, takes some money off a deal. So if they go to a team like the Coyotes and they, like, try to get someone out of there. But apparently, I mean, not the Coyotes anymore, but Utah. But Utah said that they're trying to compete now. So they can't go there and be like, hey, we're looking for Nick Schmaltz. They're going to go, hey, we're trying to win. No. So it's like, I don't know what team they go to. Like, it's not like the Sharks have, like, a big pool that they can take away from. And so it's like, they can't afford any of the other big, like, names out there, and it's not like a Natchez fits on this team. So to me, it's like the Rangers have really cornered them into a spot where they can't make any big moves. Like, sure, they move out Trouba, right? They move out Trouba for, let's say, like, some sort of, like, nice, like, they send him to, like, the Ducks, and they get, like, Minchikov and some other like young whoever, right? Maybe they get like 2 first-round picks. Not 2, that would be ridiculous for Trouba, but they get like a first-round pick and like some defenseman, which is way overpriced, so that's never going to happen either. So, but regardless, they're moving him out for that money. But then that money, so let's say if they $8 million, let's say they just say trade Trouba for a first-round pick to some team. So they get $8 million on this team, so 19.3. So now they have 19.3 plus the money that they're going to have to spend to these guys next season. So let's say the cap goes up by like $5 million over the next 2 years now. So if it's like 19.5 currently, add in like an extra $5 million for next year. So let's say they're currently at like 24 million, right? So now they need to sign Shesterkin to like $7+ more million. So that's 7 away from like the 24. So now we're already down to 17. Lafreniere wants like 8 million, so or more. So then you subtract that from the team plus whoever they sign onto this team. So there's so many things like going over and over and over again with this team that I just don't know like where you go with it anymore. So to me, it's just like it's one thing after another and another that the Rangers are in a corner. They're kind of stuck. They have no way to get out of it. And there's no, like, way that you really unless you move out Trouba. But then what do you do with the defense? Because you really got to help out the defense back there. And I know I'm just rambling at this point about this, but I'm just trying to paint the picture that the Rangers have really put together, like, this is the team. And unless they move out a guy like Trouba is not the end-all, be-all of their defensemen. But Fox was way bigger of an issue, and it's not like you're moving him away. So it's not like there's no real way to get around this. This is the team. And what is most likely to happen, because we always speculate about this all the time about the NHL teams and whatnot, like, oh, they're going to do this thing, they're going to do that thing, they're going to do whatever. And then it's like, no, they never do. They usually sit on their hands and don't do anything special. And to me, it's going to be the same thing with the Rangers here. The Rangers are a team that could make a move and try to do some sort of elaborate like accounting, but they're just not going to. And it's just going to be a team again that they go into the year, they have another great season. Maybe everyone, either half the fan base this year, Biz is like, oh, they're Fugazi this year, and then the other half are like, no, they're great. And then regardless of anything, this team is not going to win the Stanley Cup. It is just not going to happen. They're not closer. And there's no real moves that could really make them closer at this point. And to me, unless they make some crazy moves and they really do some creative financing, I don't see this going any way other than bad for the Rangers. So for me, I know I'm not really gotten anywhere with this, but there's really they're stuck. This team is stuck right now, and I don't really know how they get out of it, because out of this year, this next season, after this year, things are different, because this is Trouba's last year of his deal. So after this, that $8 million just doesn't exist anymore. So but at that point, who knows what kind of player Trouba is. So after this year, things can be different. But this upcoming season, right now, they're very much stuck in a hole. And I don't know if they can get out of it. But that's all I gotta say. So thank you for watching this and made it this far. Please, I'm begging you, please subscribe. Please. Too sweet. Have an amazing day, and ta-ta for now.